It is kind of incredible that months before the 2022 midterms, we're still talking about the infamous laptop. But here we are, after the New York Times finally confirmed the existence and authenticity of the Hunter Biden laptop. It's been the subject of conservative media fascination since 2020, when the New York Post first reported on the computer's existence and emails said to be on the laptop's hard drive. Now, for those unfamiliar with the story, weeks before the 2020 election, the New York Post declared it had a smoking gun email that the paper said proved that Hunter Biden had introduced Joe Biden to a top executive at Ukrainian energy company Burisma, whose board Hunter sat on at a reported salary of up to $50,000 a month. Joe Biden has said he had no recollection of any meeting. The Post's story was part of a series of pieces on Hunter's laptop, which the paper presumably got from Trump's attorney Rudy Giuliani and former Trump advisor Steve Bannon. The story was so controversial when it came out that Twitter and Facebook took the unprecedented steps to limit its spread, including blocking users from posting links to the piece. And when the Post's reporting came out, many on the left were quick to dismiss it as disinformation, as the folks at Fox and Friends pointed out this weekend.
Hunter Biden, this laptop that intelligence officials have warned is likely Russian disinformation.
I get pretty fired up about how this works because, look, I mean, if the New York Post tells you your mom loves you, you should check it out. We are not talking about fully reliable sources here.
It feels like a repeat from last cycle. It's the, but her emails again, and it's kind of ridiculous.
Featuring all the usual suspects. Hunter Biden, mysterious emails, Ukrainian businessmen, ...
Not long after the Post first reported about the alleged contents of the computer, Hunter Biden's former business partner, Tony Bobulinski, went public with documents that he said backed up some of the Post's reporting. While the emails Bobulinski provided to the Wall Street Journal make it clear that Hunter was cashing in on the Biden name, the Journal did not believe that the emails proved wrongdoing by Joe Biden. Quote, Joe Biden was a private citizen at the time of these alleged meetings, and there is no evidence we've seen that he personally benefited from the China deal. Nearly a year after the Post's initial report, Politico's Ben Schreckinger confirmed in his book, The Bidens Inside the First Family's 50-Year Rise to Power, that at least some of the Post story was accurate, and that some, if not all of the material from the laptop was genuine. But again, Schreckinger's reporting couldn't verify any of the claims of wrongdoing by Joe Biden. Now, there's no doubt that the mainstream media was left with egg on their faces, now that even the New York Times is confirming information obtained from the hard drive of the computer was Hunter's and is real. They also buried the story in the 24th paragraph, a sort of disjointed piece about the Department of Justice's investigation into Hunter Biden's international business dealings, as if to almost try to hide the fact that they were so late to the game. So that's part one. The laptop was Hunter's, at least certain emails are real, and the left-leaning media should be embarrassed. But on the flip side of this, the Post's smoking gun email that purports to show Joe Biden meeting with a Ukrainian energy official is still not verified. And as Schreckinger, who has been trying to get the mainstream media to take the story seriously for months, noted last September, while the emails obtained by the Post contained genuine files, it's still possible that fake material had been slipped in as well. Without verifying the Post's so-called smoking gun, there's nothing that points to overt wrongdoing on the part of Joe Biden. But that didn't keep many on the right from accusing Biden of corruption.
What the laptop showed was that Joe Biden was intimately familiar with the Biden family business, in which members of the Biden family shake down corrupt foreign governments and oligarchs in exchange for their proximity to Joe Biden.
You know, it is a crime to misuse your public office for financial gain, for profit. It appears that's exactly what Hunter Biden did. And the evidence suggests that Joe Biden was complicit.
And this story is not about Hunter Biden. This story is about Joe Biden. This story is about the Biden family and all of their corruption.
This story is not about Hunter Biden's laptop. It's not about Hunter Biden. It's about Joe Biden and the evidence on the laptop of the president's corrupt business dealings with a hostile foreign power.
Except, and I'm going to be fact-checked on this in a moment, there's nothing that's come out so far that points to wrongdoing by Joe Biden. Not only that, while the right is trying to convince you the story is a major bombshell and a cover-up, it's ignoring the fact that President Biden is allowing his Department of Justice to continue to investigate his son criminally, and even allowing the same federal prosecutor who investigated Hunter Biden under President Trump to stay on to complete the investigation. So those of us who just want facts and aren't looking to score political points can say both, that the Hunter Biden laptop story is a legitimate story that should never have been censored by the mainstream media. And yet there is still nothing about that story, at least not yet, that proves Joe Biden is corrupt or did anything illegal. The right is correct. The New York Post story was a real story, shouldn't have been mocked, shouldn't have been minimized the way it was. The right is also overstating what we know is on the Hunter Biden laptop as it relates to Joe Biden. The laptop saga, very embarrassing to Hunter. But for President Biden, I don't know that anything changes. But joining me now is the man I referenced to earlier, who has recognized the significance of this story for years and has covered it and the Biden family extensively, Politico national political correspondent Ben Schreckinger. Ben, thanks for coming back on the show. Appreciate it. So have I accurately portrayed what we know and don't know? Please correct any even shading in my account and anything else you have learned in the past few weeks.
Look, I think you've nailed it. This thing has been a political football from the start. It was touted, championed by the right as soon as it came out as some sort of smoking gun, proving Joe Biden's alleged corruption. It was minimized and ignored by much of the left, by sectors of the mainstream media for months, certainly through Election Day 2020. And is so often the case, the truth of the matter is somewhere in the middle. As the New York Times corroborated recently, and I, of course, had corroborated much of this months ago, as had some forensic analyses, there is a lot of genuine material on this laptop. It remains possible that some of it is fake, and some of it does point to the fact that Hunter Biden was pursuing business deals abroad with people who had an interest in influencing his father. Obviously, not long after we learned of this laptop, we learned of an ongoing federal criminal investigation into Hunter Biden. At the same time, no proof of criminal wrongdoing by Joe Biden, no indication that he's under investigation whatsoever.
Now, I'm going to ask you about the Hunter Biden investigation in a moment. But here, I'm going to read a little piece of the smoking gun email the New York Post reported on. And it's supposedly coming from a Ukrainian official. Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving me an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. It's really an honor and pleasure, et cetera. He goes on from there. I mean, that's the one, right? If it could be confirmed. But the concern is, and apparently there's some problem with that email account, right, from where it supposedly came from.
Well, what is going on with this alleged encounter at Cafe Milano remains a bit of a mystery. It's been confirmed that Joe Biden did stop by a dinner that included many of the attendees that were discussed on other emails as being at this event, along with the Burisma official on Hunter Biden's laptop. But the White House has denied that any encounter occurred between Biden and the Burisma official at the dinner. Another attendee I spoke to says he doesn't recall the Burisma official being there. Really, we don't know whether an encounter occurred at this dinner or not. And if it did, we don't know whether it was substantive or significant or merely pleasantries. So there's sort of a black hole in the middle of this laptop scandal related to that email.
All right, one thing that is real and is serious is that the Hunter Biden investigation is continuing. What's the latest?
So witnesses have continued to go before the grand jury in recent weeks, including a woman who was the mother of a child of Hunter Biden's who sued him for paternity. She and her lawyer turned over financial documents that they had possession of related to that paternity settlement. There is a tax component of this. There's also a money laundering and foreign lobby component, trying to determine if some of this work that Hunter Biden was doing for foreign interests should have been registered with the Justice Department. That is often a higher bar than merely a tax case. And the New York Times, on top of this, has reported that Hunter Biden has paid some of the back taxes that he owes, something that could influence a decision about whether or not to indict.
Ben Schreckinger, we postponed this segment a day just so we could make sure we had you on this segment, because you're actually out there talking to people who are at the dinner. You're actually doing the reporting and the hard work to figure out what happened. And you have been one of the few people who've been saying from the beginning, this is a real story, this is a serious story, and it's why we trusted you to come on the show and fact check us. Appreciate it, Ben.
Thanks so much for having me, Dan.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.